After the birth of Huawei's 5G, the technical hegemony of the United States was challenged. The Biden team began to launch a series of special care for Chinese companies. Individuals will be added to this list. After the official implementation of the chip rules, various rules and regulations have been set for the cooperation between companies with American technology and Chinese companies. High-end chips cannot be shipped freely, and all manufacturers related to the Chinese mainland market have been implicated. American companies have already begun to face a business crisis. The Biden team does not care about the seriousness of the problem, but insists on the method of injury 800 to the enemy and 1,000 to self-injury. The constant warnings of U.S. companies have also been turned a blind eye, and they can only force Chinese companies to build independent industrial systems and domestically produced alternatives. Started at full speed, began to compress the living space of American companies. After the signing of the tripartite agreement between the United States, Japan and the Netherlands, the scope of restrictions on China's semiconductor industry was reduced to 45 nanometers. Unbearable, China launched a reciprocal countermeasure and implemented export controls on gallium and germanium. Once the United States continues to be obsessed with it, rare earth, the trump card is also ready to play at any time, which directly announces the official start of the Sino-US technological game. And the first bad head in this competition appeared, and Qualcomm made a prediction: the financial report in the third quarter will usher in a sharp drop, and the 5G license has not been obtained for a long time, giving Huawei enough time to achieve domestic substitution. It is expected that 9 December will not be able to obtain any substantial benefits from Huawei. Qualcomm was the loser. Obviously, the relationship between supply and demand has reversed. This time, it's not that the United States doesn't sell, but that China voluntarily gave up buying. During the transition from 4G to the 5G era, Qualcomm and Huawei are both competitive and cooperative. With the help of Qualcomm's chips, Huawei's mobile phone business almost counterattacked and became the world's #1. It also achieved corner overtaking at the 5G level. The sales of communication equipment in China have fallen sharply, and the Biden team had to take control. In the process of starting restrictions, Qualcomm is also quite contradictory. Every year, Huawei can provide a large amount of revenue. Even under the high-end chip control measures, in the past 3 years, Qualcomm has still shipped nearly 5G chips. $60 billion of products. 5G product authorization. Qualcomm has never given up on the application. Welcome to Key Tech. Please describe this channel if you are interested in today's video. At the beginning of promoting chip rules, the United States wanted to suppress technology and make money, and wanted to make Chinese companies completely compromise and fully rely on the semiconductor products of American companies. Obviously, the Biden team ignored the tenacious perseverance of the Chinese people, the tradition of the more suppressed, the stronger. The current state is that technology has not been suppressed, and American companies have no money to make. After the signing of the U.S., Japan, and Netherlands tripartite agreement, the Biden team continued to spread rumors that they would comprehensively restrict the shipment of chips, which naturally included companies such as Nvidia, Intel, and Qualcomm, which were specially customized for the Chinese market. The chips involved cover 4G, cloud computing and other products. This method of not leaving any survive also made Qualcomm and other companies furious and went directly to Washington to force the palace. With the American way of doing things, it is certain that they will not compromise so easily. The supply may be cut off at any time. Naturally, Chinese companies dare not fully deliver orders to US companies, so they started a large-scale order cut, replacing all those that can be localized. Qualcomm, as a major chip supplier in the Chinese market, is operating. The revenue directly fell by 23%, the net profit fell by 52%, and the mobile phone chip business fell by more than 25%. If similar problems cannot be solved, no one will purchase Qualcomm's chips gradually. At present, China is rapidly developing the Internet of Things industry, and the demand for chips is concentrated in mature technology. Huawei will no longer pay for the 4G chip license. Huawei's 5G problem solved. According to the Swiss Business Daily, Huawei will cooperate with SMIC, and it is expected to resume the production of 5G chips soon and launch 5G-enabled mobile phones again. And such orientation is predictable. In March of this year, Huawei officially announced that it had broken through the EDA design software above 14 nanometers, combined with the chip stacking process, and the domestic breakthrough 5G RF chip, relying on the domestic supply chain is beneficial. The ability to realize the manufacture of 7 nanometers 5G chips. Although the current top technology has come to 3 nanometers mass production, which is several generations ahead of 7 nanometers, but according to the data of professional research institutions, 7 nanometers chips are enough for mobile phones, and 5 nanometers has already experienced excess performance. Before the birth of disruptive technology, the performance of 7 nanometers chips is completely sufficient. Now that Huawei has released the Hongmeng 4.0 version, it can be said that it has completely got rid of the title of Shell Android, and it is still based on the design of the Internet of Everything, which is fundamentally different from Android and iOS. Once the Kirin chip can usher in the return, it is naturally inevitable. Limited existence. The 5G battle between Huawei and Qualcomm has already become one-sided. At present, the country has assembled various high-quality resources for Huawei, and it will usher in explosive growth in the future. What do you think of this?